Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Mars Horizon. It's episode 19 and I've decided that I'm going to wrap this series up by episode 20. So this is the second to last episode. Now we're currently working on the Mars Prep Sample Retrieval mission. This is a formidable mission, but it also gives you that 25% Mars preparation boost, which is really welcome. The year has progressed quite nicely. We're now in December 2007, which I believe is about 7 years later than where I left you in the previous episode. And, well, let's just start launching that Mars sample retrieval mission. There's a lot of science to be had. It just doesn't give you that all at once. It gives you that over a period of about 4 years. And of course, there is a science bonus to be had. Although, I have to be honest, formidable missions, I usually just go for the basics these days, because the extended bonus rewards, while they are nice, they're also really difficult to get. Now, I had to research some new rocket parts in order to get this thing up there, because it's a really large craft. So I'm down to I believe the last block of the vehicle builder tech tree. And that gives me this new rocket. This is the, I believe it's the SBS rocket class.
3, 2, 1.
Both of these modules, upper stage, lower stage, very reliable. Shouldn't pose any kind of a problem.
We have liftoff.
In the meanwhile, off-screen, we've had a couple of notifications of the Curiosity rover, which is still going strong. They were taking some pictures, getting some more support, generating a whole bunch of science. Overall, sorry, it's the SLS. Overall, the Curiosity mission has been a great success so far. Now, the first stage is to get this thing into a Mars transfer orbit. So, generate a thrust, or rather keep an eye on the thrust, although it probably decays at the end of the turn, by -2 no less. I have 4 turns, 4 commands, that's 16 actions in total. So, if I want to get 14, I have to generate this thing 3 times at the end. So, turn 4 is pretty much solely dedicated to doing a full burn, for which I'll need 6 nav and 3 comms. So time to generate those resources. Let's first get those basic things fixed. So that's, let's see, I can go for energy to this. This is 3 resources for 6. And then I can use the data to generate more nav. Okay. That seems like a pretty decent deal. Immediately putting me at the base nav requirements. But I can probably go a little better than that and get another one. So that puts me at 14, and I will need quite a bit more than that. Look at that. And additional data. Next, dust collection. Not sure why we're collecting dust up here. It seems to me like that would be the last thing that you want to do, but okay. Now, I am going to use this one to generate some comms, because I'll also need quite a bit of that. So this one, actually this is 3 for 5, that's not necessarily ideal. 3 for 6 is better. Then I can use the data to get, yeah, just to do this one again. This is 2 for 6. And then another, let's say, can I transmute data a little faster? Not really, I think this is currently the most efficient way to start spending that data. Because then I got the base requirements covered. Look at that. An additional data. Again. So far, very reliable mission craft. Jinxed it. And of course it fails on me just as I say that. Now I'm already above the base requirement. Sorry, above the bonus requirements even. I would still need to get a bit more comms and a bit more nav. Just to ensure that I get those thruster burns. That I can... Or actually, I can do them now. Yeah, I can do them now. That would give me all the stuff that I need. I can suffer 2 times decays, so that's fine. I just then need to generate 5 more nav and 6 more comms. And I can do that using a bit of data. And in the next turn, finish up with the rest. That should be entirely doable. 1, 2, and... ooh, nice. And 3, and control done. Alright, so we have the thrust required. We now need to get 1 more comm and 5 more nav. 5 more nav. I can do that again and then get the comms. And that's the bonus reward settled. One, 2, and 3. Job done. That's the first phase, but the craft is not there quite yet. We're still going to do a lot more mission phases. But hey, this is 200 science for 3 months, up until the next phase. Here we are, phase 2. In phase 2 we are going to do an execution of a trajectory correction. Keep an eye on the thrust and the drift. Thrust of course decaying. Drift also... oh, drift is unsteady. Drift will be modified by -2 and 2. Jeez, okay. I need to keep it at 0 at the end of the task. So I can let it drift over time, so long as it doesn't go completely haywire on me. Because then I'm going to be in trouble. Now, what's the best bang for my buck? This is power and 2 comms for 6 data, and I would ideally need to generate 20. So the fastest way to generate comms is a bit of data and a bit of nav. Data, comms, like that. And I can do that again. Ooh, another bonus reward. I believe that this mission craft had about an 80% reliability, and I'm starting to see the benefits of that. Okay, we're at 4 drift. For all I know, it could go to 6, it could go to 2. It's hard to tell exactly what it's going to do. I'm not sure how much I have to be invested in getting that back to 0, at least in this stage of the mission. Because there is something to be said for not paying too much mind to it, as I believe over time we'll be able to fix that. Let's see, I still have 2. That's a bit too much drift for my taste. I could start generating thrusts. I would need 5. This generates 6. But I still have a few turns, so by the end of that, I'll probably have lost a lot of thrust. Now with data, I can generate this one, which is more comms, but also, again, the drift. Or I could spend a bit and generate more nav, which is not really what I need, except for when I want to start building thrust up. You know what, let's do that. Just have a bit of a reserve of nav. I have plenty of power. A bit of reserve of nav, so to ensure that I can actually perform the next phases of the mission properly. Okay, we're at 3 drift. I have 2 turns remaining. We have a lot of data, a lot more than I need. I just need to get to 15 or 8 if I want to stay at the safety margins. So, generating a lot of comms data is done by this one. But then I'm going to have to counteract that with that, just to make sure I don't drift off course too much. Let's do that again. It's 14 and 26. And then I need to start generating a bit more. Mostly of this. Yeah, I'll be able to fix this in the next turn. I hope. There we go. We got plenty of data. Now I need to start transmuting that, fixing the drift. So let's fix that first. That's the wrong way. Drift and drift. And then this one and that one, putting me at a lot of the data that I need, more than, well, a lot more than the thrust that I need. I just need to get 4 more. Unfortunately, I cannot do it with that, because that would cause me to drift off course too far. I could do it with this. 15, 26, and 6, meaning another 50% bonus reward. And there we go. Packet transfer succeeds, and that's the bonus reward done. Second phase of the mission completed. And that's 206 signs for 6 months. 6 months later, we're approaching Mars, and it's time to start planning our descent. So this is probably going to involve some heat. No, actually not yet. We first need to achieve Mars orbit. Yes, fair enough. Keep an eye on the drift. It's going to be somewhere between -2 and 2 per turn. So that's something that I don't really want to spend too much focus on right now. What I can get a lot of, let's say, bang for my buck is this one. If I can generate a bit of data, I can then transmute that into a lot of navigational information. Data is used sheerly as an excess resource. It's not something that I need to generate. And generating, yeah, here's comms. Whichever way you pick is going to involve drift. Gotcha. So let's get this one. Actually, again, let's just see how that drift starts to develop. What are we getting for drift? Okay, we're still within the bounds for now. Now I have 20 nav. I still have 2 data, so I can do this again, bringing me to 30 data. Spend a bit of power to generate some comms, but also causes a lot of drift. There, that's at least the base requirements done, and let's recoup 1 power. Packet transfer. No joy. I'm going to resist that. That's a nice bonus. Okay, that's the base requirements done. Drift is still normal, so if I wanted to, I can complete the task now, but ideally I want that 25% bonus reward. For that, I only have to get 2 more comms and 8 more data. Sorry, 8 more nav. So generate 1 more, spend that there, and then start looking into maybe doing this one. It's going to cost me a little bit more than I would like. Let's just save on a bit of power this time, because I might have to counteract some drift, like that. That's going to set it back, at the expense of the comms that I need, but then I can bring it all the way back. Get the 25% bonus reward, and with the excess science, I don't know, not much, I suppose. I don't really need to do that much with it, the excess data that I have. So, data compression succeeds, and we have the 25% bonus reward. So we have achieved Mars orbit, and now we're going to descend to Mars. This is where things are going to heat up, because now we're entering the atmosphere. This is going to mean heat and drift will both be an important factor. I'm used to working with one of these, but 2 of these is going to keep me very much on my toes. Ideally, of course, aim for the 50, but I'd be perfectly happy just accepting a safe landing. Let's see. 2 data, 2 power, generates 10 nav and a whole bunch of drift. Now this needs to be safe by the end of the task. This needs to be kept in line by the end of the turn. It has to be kept below 3. And I'm generating +2 each turn. So that's something I really need to keep a fairly close eye on. Ideally, I would burn off at least some heat every turn, because the thing will continue to heat up regardless. Now, with the intermittent resource of comms, I can get quite a lot of stuff and immediately satisfy the base requirements of the mission. Or actually, mostly. Visual spectrum analyzer, done, done, done. And fail, but I have some power, I'm going to counteract that. Alright, we're at 5 and 14 out of 23. We definitely need to burn off some heat. So, burn off the heat, generate more data. Also at the expense of some nav, but then again, I can fairly easily counteract that. It's going to come at the expense of a lot of drift, But again, I don't need to counteract that just yet. I'm going to need to do it again, actually, if I want to get to 45. It's going to cause immense amounts of drift, so the next turns will probably be spent on positional triangulation to bring that drift back to acceptable numbers. Ooh, another bonus. It's a very kind spacecraft, this one. Alright, we're at 42 out of 45 and 3 out of 10. Drift is going back at least a little bit. So, counteract that drift. And that's a lot of the nav that I need. I can spend some of that burning off... oh, sorry, I don't have 3 heat. I only have 2. Yeah, spend some of that burning this off. And then I need to start looking into how to get more data. Because I still need to get 5 more. This is gonna bring my drift back. Put my data at 8. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. Positional triangulation complete. Ooh, nice one. And succeeded. Alright, 51 out of 23. Or rather, out of 45 and 8 out of 10. We're sorry, we're running relatively warm at 3. But that's fine. I need to keep it below 3. So I can just use a bit of the heat. And that should satisfy the bonus requirements as well. Drift is fine. Heat is fine. I can get this done with 50% bonus. Here we are, again, 1 month later, back at the sample retrieval, and apparently I did mute my mic at some point because I was coughing quite a bit. It's time to bring this thing home. Retrieve the sample, phase 4, in October 2008. Enter Earth transfer orbit. Keep an eye on comms and generate a whole bunch of thrust. Now, I have 4 turns of 4 actions on a decay 1 thrust. There's nothing about heat, there's no drift. This is actually a pretty straightforward task. Now I can get 2 for 5 and 2 for 3. With this I can then get data and comms. And with the data, with the nav and comms, I can generate them thrust. Ideally, of course, get 20, because it's another 50% bonus. Let's see. Let's work on the comms first. Because the drift decays. Resist that. Done. Done. Okay, we're at 14 for 10. Now to look into getting more thrust. It does decay by 1. In order to get that, I need 2 nav and 1 comms. So let's generate some comms, let's generate some nav, and then let's start building some thrust. I know it decays, but I'm playing this one really safe. I just want to get that science back to Earth safely. Yeah, resist that. Alright, base, done. Now, in order to get a bit more, I would need to generate 5 more. So we're going to be generating some more data. The only way that I can safely do that is with nav. So 1, 2... actually, again. And then with data I can generate even more nav, which I will need to put those extra thrusters in, put those extra burns in. Done, 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 and failed. But I still have some power. Shouldn't be an issue because I don't believe I need that for the final phase. Here. 1, 2, bonus reward. Power, just as a failsafe. So, that one, yep, there we go, there's the failsafe. Resist. Succeeded with honors, and that's all the thrust and more than I need for the bonus objective. So, time to get back to Earth. That's the Mars Ascent. And in 9 months, she's going to come back and we're going to land her on Earth. In the meanwhile, on the background, I was working on the Grand Tour. It's now completed. I have done this as the first one, which generates a nice bit of extra support and gets me 636 signs for 6 months. Missions on this one were pretty tough. There were a lot of things that I went, oof, those are tough choices on. But hey, we got it done. Now, back to the Mars lander. And here's the final phase of the Mars sample retrieval. We're coming back to Earth, and now we have to try and put this thing down safely and make sure the sample doesn't burn up in the atmosphere. Achieve Earth orbit, 13 and 13, keep an eye on the heat. Heat will go up by +5 every turn. So I have to burn off a lot of heat, and thankfully, with positional triangulation, I can do just that. We have 4 turns, and in order to generate all of this nav that I need, and of course the comms, I would have to use quite a bit of data. In order to get data, I first need to generate the comms, then turn that into that, and then use that to generate the nav. Again, bonus requirements are a nice benefit, but safety first. Keep this thing intact. Make sure it plummets down to the Earth intact. Once again, burn that off. Now, in order to get quite a bit, we're going to do this again. So get nav, get data, and transmute that. So that I can then start transmuting all of the nav using this one and get a whole bunch of comms. There we go. Of course, the heat goes back up to 5, but I can now do this one, by my estimate, 3 times, 4 times even, and it brings the heat down quite a lot. Then I just need to get 1 more comms and burn off some more heat, and we should be fine. Okay, we actually already have the bonus reward, and that's because one of these got a bonus. Nice job. So now we're in Earth orbit. Oh, we don't even have to land? Oh, okay. My bad. I thought we were going to have to do that, but apparently we do not. This also means that I got a 4 million bonus for getting a couple of these achievements. Support 1141, 411 signs for 2 years. That's really nice. Now, what I'm going to be working on off-screen in the background is getting more of the tech tree unlocked. I'm getting quite deep into the tech tree when it comes to missions. I have the Mars lander, and I'm working on the crewed lander. I'm already building a crewed rover and the surface habitat, which I'll send ahead of the astronauts. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that off-screen, and in the next episode and last episode, episode 20, we're going to be looking into fixing that last phase and actually achieving our dream of putting astronauts on the surface of Mars and putting them there intact, not getting killed upon impact. So join me next time, which will be in a few days, for the last phase of this series. Thank you for watching so far. I'll catch you in a few days.